Thank you.
Morning, Coach, and good morning, everyone. Please feel free to raise the hand function on the your computer to ask a question of Coach. Thank you. First question we'll get is from John Corrales, Coach.
Hey, Ime, obviously you have your defensive game plan, but it seems to be going pretty well. I mean, is this as good as you envisioned it going, better than you thought it would go? Where does it stand in what you were planning versus the execution?
Yeah, I think we're executing it well. Obviously, guys are locked in and up to the task and understand what it is to guard Durant and Irving and try to take away some of their strengths. And so we're doing a very, very good job individually as well as the team. And to your point, the physicality, attention to detail, them not getting a lot of clean looks has been as expected, as good as we can do. And to limit those guys the way we have is impressive by our guys. So locked in on the task at hand, understand that the series is not over. They're going to come out aggressive and have to maintain that as we have the first 3 games.
Mark Murphy.
Hi, mate. Durant talked last night of overthinking things. He sounds like he's genuinely confused about some of the stuff that's happening out there. Just how much is your goal just to get a guy to do exactly that, to maybe question what he's seeing, question what he's able to do, especially someone of that level?
Yeah, I don't think you can give him or any of the top scorers or stars in this league the same look. They adapt and adjust quickly, and they've seen all that things. So the big piece of it was different matchups, different coverages, and just keeping them off balance and keeping them guessing to some extent. So you try to put some hesitation or doubt in their mind, have physicality and not give them a lot of clean looks that can get them going. And I think we've done that for the most part, giving them, showing them the crowd, obviously taking away their airspace and making them shoot the shots that we'd like. That's the first piece of it. But guys behind it, team defense, making plays, whether it's a call play or just reads on their own, has been at a high level.
Any other questions for Coach? Yes, John Corrales again.
Those reads you're just mentioning there behind the play, how have those progressed? Because you got these guys executing your plan, but how far have they come defensively, just reading things on their own and helping and knowing when to do these things just on the spot?
Yeah, I think it's obviously come a long way throughout the season. I like to coach on the fly at times, and I'll call some things out that I see, from the broad view of, seeing the court and seeing where guys are spaced. But at the same time, Marcus and Jason, Jalen, those guys, as well as our bigs, have done a great job of understanding where they're at on the court with certain personnel. And I think the communication kind of behind them has been great. And so if somebody's in a good spot, they let the other guy know, and our communication and rotations have been really sharp and on point. So a lot of it is instinctual with certain guys. Like I mentioned, Marcus, he'll read where he's at and where the help is at. But as the same thing behind that is guys talking, communicating, and that was a big theme for us going into this series, with the communication being on the same string. And I think you're starting to see that throughout the series.
Abby Chin.
Hi, Ime. Jeff, I have a couple. My first one is, how did Rob come out of last night?
Great. No problems at all.
Woj had reported that initially, if things went well in game 3, he could be extended for much more significant playing time in game 4. Is that the plan? Rob told us last night he doesn't know what the plan is.
Yeah, I mean, the minutes we talked about it was in a 24 range anyway. And so just being a little more cautious, we wanted to keep him less than 20, and we did that 15 and a half. So technically we could have played more, and as his confidence and his body and response to the live game action, that can increase. And so we'll get with the medical team, talk to him, see how he felt after last night, and go from there. But technically could have played more minutes than we did last night.
And then my last one is Jason. Last night, when I asked him about taking the challenge of guarding KD, he said his message to the team is that no one plays harder than us. How do you coach that? How do you instill that in this group?
Well, it was the first message that I kind of relayed to the group from day one. we had a bullet point up there, and it was about effort. And, you know, that's something that I don't want to have to ask as a coach, and continuing to hammer that home on our team that if the league plays a certain way and we do the opposite, we'll be in great shape. I think 75% of it is effort, and that's trickled down throughout the group. And I think everybody takes those individual matchups and that mentality to heart, and then everybody holds each other accountable as well as the coaching staff. And so throughout the season, we've kind of forged that identity of a hard-nosed, tough-playing team. And as I mentioned, like I said, first thing I showed the guys this year was effort and what that takes to get to that level and what it can do result-wise. And so I think we're there where we play hard every night. Even early in the season when we were taking some lumps, we were still giving the proper effort for the most part. And so that's always been a constant with this team. And so great to hear Jason say that.
Gary Washburn.
Yeah, two things. One, on the play that you challenged, when Jason was adamant that he did not foul Kevin Durant. He said, hell no, I didn't foul him. Then he admitted to us that he actually fouled him. How much do you take your players' participation or opinion into situations that challenge calls? Because that was one where Jason literally was waving off, I didn't foul him, and then he said he did. What goes into that when you challenge, and how much do you trust your players?
I barely trust the players when they say that. Everybody thinks they do not foul. I question it because I heard a little bit of a slap from where I was all the way from half court. And so, you know, obviously we have 30 seconds and I'm looking to the bench, the guys that have the replay. We didn't get the replay back in enough time. Jason was very adamant about it. And more so than anything, it was the fact that we had 3 timeouts. It was at around the 5-minute mark. We had one to burn before the 3-minute mark. So we would have lost it anyway. And, you know, when you taking the time score and timeouts or fouls on a certain player, that's when you kind of balance all those things into the decision. But I wasn't sure of it. He was adamant. And usually I do not go with the player's reaction.
How do you encourage the players, or do you to enjoy this process? I mean, their growing process, winning any playoff game is very hard, but also focus on the future, focus on the task, but also take time to take a deep breath and enjoy the process, enjoy what they're currently in.
Just want to stay consistent. You know, we've seen the other end of it this year, losing close games or, you know, giving up some big leads. So that's always in the back of our minds and how we've improved this year and where we've gotten to. So, you know, there's no complacency from our group, not content with where we're at. We understand how a series can flip due to several number of things. You know, I'm a guy that will never, you know, count something being done until it's done. And, you know, Ray Allen hit a shot to take away a championship ring my first year as a coach. And so that's always in my mind. And that's what I harp on with our guys. And so injuries happen. You know, one thing can happen to flip a series and you don't want to be on the wrong end of that. And so our message is, you know, enjoy what you're doing, but do it better. And when it's all done, we'll enjoy it for a second and move on to the next one. And so that's our mentality, one game at a time, one quarter at a time, one play at a time, and don't look at the big picture and try to get over with in one play in the first quarter. We understand who we are defensively and how we can wear on people mentally, physically, and grind out a series. And so that's kind of our goal going into it. And that's how we'll look at game 4.
Final couple of questions here, Coach. First from Brian Mahoney from Associated Press.
Yeah, thank you. I imagine when the defense as good as yours is, you probably assume that if you do everything right, you probably can force guys to miss shots, even good players. But do you imagine it gets to the point where you can have a guy like Kevin Durant, you know, confused, questioning himself after a game the way he is, and, you know, jittery with the ball, even some crazy turnovers? Like, do you think, yeah, we can totally shake a guy that good?
I wouldn't say shake him or have him confused. That wasn't the plan. It was just to make it tough on him, hard on him, and give him different looks. And so, you know, I played against Kevin his first few years in the league and coached against him in several playoff series with Oklahoma, Golden State, and you know, worked with him in USA and coached him last year. So know him well. And to say we were trying to get him rattled, that's not the thing. It's being physical, making it tough on him more so than anything. And you know, we believe in our individual defenders. I think that's the strength of our team, is that we don't have a lot of guys you can pick on. And we believe in our team defense behind it. So we want to give different looks and keep guys off balance. And if that's a result of it, so be it. But our thing is really, guarding one-on-one, first of all, giving help in the proper spots and helping off of certain guys and making it tough as far as that. Not as much getting a guy rattled. Obviously, Kevin has seen everything in this league for years and adjusted and adapted to that. I saw it myself guarding him as a young player, how his improvement from year 1 to 2 to 3 was. And so not trying to confuse or any of that, but give him tough looks and do keep him off balance at times.
Final question, coach, is from Sherrod Blakely. Go ahead, Sherrod. Sherrod Blakely. Okay, I guess we'll wrap it up right there then, coach. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, guys.